It's time, my friends, for another Devo tip on agents of revival. We're going to look at Haggai chapter 1, verses 12 through 14. Old Testament prophecy directly applies to the historical situation in which the prophet lived, of course. But Jesus also clarifies that these ancient prophecies, they came from him and are primarily about him. So according to Hebrews 1, verses 1 and 2, going through a long line of prophets, God has been addressing our ancestors in different ways for centuries. And recently, he spoke to us directly through his Son. So, it was God's Son that spoke to Haggai? Yes. You see, God exists as three separate identities while possessing the full nature of one essence. The Trinity is a mystery, isn't it? Yet, for some reason, when people read about God in the Old Testament, they often sideline the second person of the Trinity, and I don't know why. This is a huge mistake. You see, in the Old Testament, Lord is the English translation of the Hebrew word Yahweh. Yahweh is God's unique name that must be honored. So the Jews have taken great precautions never to speak the name or misuse the name or associate the name with anyone else but the one true God. Instead, they call him Lord. So when the Hebrew Bible was translated into Greek, they used the word Kyrios, which means Lord. And our English Bibles have followed suit. So now let's read Haggai chapter 1, verse 12. After hearing the call to finish rebuilding the temple in Jerusalem, the Jews obeyed the voice of Yahweh, their God, and the words of Haggai the prophet, as Yahweh, their God, had sent him. And the people feared Yahweh. You see, Lord signified the name of Yahweh, the triune God. Yahweh is the name for the Trinity. No wonder Paul freaked out when he realized that Yahweh no longer appears in burning bushes and pillars of cloud and fire. Jesus Christ is Lord. He's Yahweh in human flesh. So Paul says this boldly. He says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, Yahweh, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's Romans 10:9. And one day, Paul says, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, Yahweh, to the glory of God the Father. That's Philippians 2. Paul knew exactly what he was saying. Jesus of Nazareth is Yahweh, and God gave his Son the name Jesus, which means God saves, to reveal his mission. You see, when we realize that the words given to the prophets came from God's Son and are primarily about God's Son, it will revolutionize our reading of the Old Testament. So notice, then Haggai, the messenger of Yahweh, spoke to the people with Yahweh's message. I am with you, declares Yahweh. Sounds like Jesus, doesn't it? Yeah, because it is. It is him. The great I am, Yahweh, was with his people during Haggai's day, just like he's with us now. The divine builder builds his church the same way he rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem. He stirs up the spirit of his people to go out, gather building material, and get to work. And after 2,000 years, the church is still under construction. The Lord will bring it to completion through our partnership in the gospel. That's Philippians 1. So what is God stirring in your heart today? Well, whatever it is, Do it in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. For behold, Jesus said, I am with you always, even to the end of the age.